Today, on September 14th, Archangel Michael says, I order you to open this now. Don't skip this. There is a person close to you who knows your secret and is using it against you, but light will shine on soon. Open immediately. Archangel Michael says this message arrives like a quiet knock that your spirit already hears, and it carries the weight of urgency that cannot be postponed. Today bears a mark that glows through the hours because a truth long concealed is stepping into the light. Hear each word as instruction, protection, and restoration woven together like threads of gold that nothing can cut. A presence close to you has handled your secret like a blade, and they believed the edge would keep you small. They studied your steps, your patterns, your pauses, and stitched a map that points to your vulnerability. They expected that map to be a leash, but under the sun of this day, the cord snaps. What they hold is not a crown over you. It is a weight they cannot carry without fracturing. Every whisper they send, every sideways glance, every careful smile, gathers into a rope that only ties their own wrists. The same doors they closed around you will unlock in their hands and reveal what they twist behind your back. I place a shield across your threshold and a bright seal on your name that no shadow can peel away. This seal sits at the front of your thoughts and the center of your chest, steadying your breath and guiding your words with quiet certainty. You walk forward and your steps become proof that no leverage against you can stand. Today does not ask you to panic, it invites you to pay attention. The first sign arrives in something small that shifts, a message delayed, a tone that fails to hide the intention inside it. Your awareness expands and the pattern comes into view like a photograph developing in a pan of silver light. Do not chase confrontation because the wind will carry their mask away without your hands touching it. Your stillness becomes the mirror they cannot face. Your grounded voice becomes the end of their script. You know this person by the way they move around your name, treating it like a coin they flip between their fingers. Every time they flip it, the metal warms and marks their skin. Their exit is already underway, even as they pretend to stand firm. Let this day become a corridor with 3 doors and a lantern in your palm. The first door is discernment, and when you open it you feel the clean wind that lifts the fog from your field. The second door is boundary, and behind it stands the simple word that keeps the wolves outside. The third door is release, and it opens to a path where you no longer carry what does not belong to you. Take these steps and let your movements be exact. Step 1 is to write your secret on paper in your own words. Not the words of fear, not the version they rehearsed. Fold the page once for dignity, twice for closure, and place it where only sunlight can touch it. Step 2 is to wash your hands with water that you salt with a pinch of intention, letting the grains dissolve like stones turning to sand. Step 3 is to speak your name aloud in a room where you stand alone and unshaken. Say it as if it were music, steady and complete, without tremor or apology. Your voice becomes a gate, and that gate recognizes the rightful owner. You feel a change in the room as soon as the last syllable leaves your mouth. The air sharpens, the edges smooth, the floor holds. Strength stands beside you like a quiet companion that never needed to raise its voice. This person who works with your secret wears 2 faces, and they think the distance between them is invisible. In the morning they lift your burden and pretend it is their own, and in the evening they lock their jaw around the story and feed it to the dark. A rhythm breaks today, and their split becomes a line that everyone can see. You will notice how your memory arranges moments like clues on a table, a call that ended too quickly, a favor that came with a hidden hook, a compliment that tasted of sand. Every piece reshapes itself into a pattern that points to their door. Do not fear the recognition, because recognition is the cue. The mind loves what is plain, the heart loves what is true, and your spirit loves what is free. All three agree today and move in one direction. I set watchers on your path who turn your head at the right second. A sentence that once slipped past you will stop in the doorway and reveal itself. A look that once felt harmless will resolve into intention that cannot hide. When the tension rises, place one hand over your chest and hold your breath for a gentle count of 3. Release the breath and feel the floor forgives the strain. Your calm is not decoration. It is a tool. The light that enters now is not fragile, it is discipline. It arrives not as a fireworks burst that fades but as a sunrise that does not step backward. With every minute, the color deepens and the edges of the scene come into focus. You will find that the story of your secret loses the heat they tried to harvest. Power drains from their cup and returns to your hands like water finding its river. Where they tried to build a dam, the stones soften and the current resumes. A name will begin to weigh differently in your mouth. When you speak it, you will feel the tilt inside the syllables. You will recognize the fracture the way a craftsman recognizes a hairline crack in a vessel. Move your attention to what nourishes you, because nourishment becomes a shield. Eat plainly and drink water slowly during this day to anchor the body that carries your light. The simplest things become a fortress when intention stands behind them. Let your messages be few and precise. Say only what aligns with your path and keep that path clean. Silence is not emptiness, it is architecture. You do not need to explain yourself to the dark, because the dark cannot use your explanation for anything that lasts. The moment transparency arrives, theft loses its appetite. The moment clarity walks in, manipulation trips over its own feet. There is relief coming, and it will land first across your shoulders and then sink into your back. The ache that has lived between your shoulder blades begins to release. The body recognizes safety before the mind declares it. And your breath follows. Hold to a small ritual that marks the turning of this day. Gather one white candle, one small bowl of water, and one clean page. Light the candle for clarity, place the bowl for reflection, and use the page to write your next act in plain lines. Write that you are sovereign over your own story and that your permission decides how it travels. Write that your borders are alive and responsive and kind to you. Write that you release the fear of old echoes and return to the present where your strength waits. Close your eyes for a few breaths and feel the room participate in your declaration. The flame steadies and stops its anxious dancing. A water holds a quiet shimmer that refuses to break. You are not alone inside these moments. Help surrounds you and moves with you and notices what tries to slither between the tiles. Every weak link in the chain reveals itself because exposure is baked into the timing of this day. You will feel the wheel of your destiny notch forward by one click that cannot reverse. That sound is almost inaudible, but your spirit recognizes it and smiles without your permission. This is the click that breaks the habit of being pushed. I place a soft armor around your private life and fasten every buckle so that nothing shakes loose. The armor does not make you rigid. It makes you unassailable. You move, you bend, you breathe, and nothing pierces. A tone in the voice of this person gives them away before the end. A tone vibrates wrong, like a string tuned to the wrong note. Everyone around hears it and turns their heads toward the true source. Your integrity rises like steam from warm earth after rain and fills the room with a fragrance that tells the truth without a single proclamation. Integrity cannot be faked for long because it refuses to sit on false chairs. Integrity walks out of traps with steady feet. Today you choose what to carry and you choose lightly. You keep your name, your peace, your focus, your next small step. You return what does not belong to you, the weight, the fear, the story written by a shaking hand. You will witness a soft unraveling, a detail they forgot, a position they cannot defend, a witness they did not anticipate. The unraveling pulls at the right thread and the whole scar slides apart. When the moment arrives to speak, your words will be few and exact, ranged like stones across a river. You step from word to word without slipping, the message lands and the room changes temperature. I gather your scattered energy and return it to your center in a slow circle that tightens until it is bright and contained. You do not leak power any longer, you release what is finished and keep what is pure. Notice how your space feels differed by evening. The corners stop holding shadows and the ceiling lifts. You sit down and the chair greets you like a friend who has been waiting without impatience. The person who used your secret as currency will find the market closed. Their buyers vanish and their bargaining chip turns to ash in their palm. Their voice drops because the echo no longer answers. Your path opens to new work that honors who you are and leaves no room for old debts. New conversations begin that do not require a mask. New doors invite you and hold steady under your hand. Protect your mornings for the next 7 days. Begin each with the same simple acts that brought you through today. Drink water with attention, speak your name with reverence, and write one line for your future. I lay a bright arch over the doorway of your home so that every entry and exit is filtered through calm. The arch remembers your face and the face of those who mean you well. It does not welcome imposters and it does not bend to pressure. If the heart stirs at night, hold it gently and remind it that the day did its work. Place your palm over your sternum and breathe 3 times with a steady pace. Rest finds you because you invited it with care. You are not late. You are on the exact minute that breaks the cycle. The chain that used to clatter now lies quiet on the ground. I settle a blessing on your hands so that everything you touch receives order and ease. Your lists become manageable. Your tasks align, your steps land with soft precision, the day answers you with cooperation. What was used against you becomes a story you own and shape. You decide how it is remembered and why it mattered, you decide when its final period lands. Carry yourself with the serenity of someone who knows their name cannot be forged. Carry yourself with the gentle pride of someone who paid for their peace in full. Carry yourself with the free shoulders of one who no longer bows to theft. The person who tried to profit from your secret will face their own reflection without a mediator. They will find that reflection unable to hide. They will beat the consequences they have grown with their own hands. You will not linger at the window for signs because signs will come sit at your table. You will not beg the light to return because the light never left you. You will not barter with safety because safety lives here now. If a memory floats up, let it pass without wrestling. If a conversation repeats in your mind, turn down its volume until it becomes a soft calm. If a place feels heavy, open a window and invite the air to teach it how to move again. You are guided today and carried without drag. Coordination arrives to meet you at every corner, timing leans in your favor and stays there. The hour grows generous as the sun slips and your body celebrates the relief. Your shoulders rest lower. Your eyes soften. Your jaw releases its old grip. The ground under you feels like trust given back. I close this message with the same firmness that opened it. A hidden hand tried to push you and the push ends now. A hidden hand tried to bargain with your truth and the bargaining table is empty. You step into the rest of this day with clarity that does not blink. You step into the next week with sovereignty that does not slip. You step into your own name and find that it fits like it was made today. Everything that belongs to you returns with quiet steps. Everything that threatens you dissolves in the open air. Everything that serves you lines up to your left and to your right and waits for your nod. The light that shines is not a stud light that blinds. It is a lantern that guides your path without glare. You will see the road and every stone on it. You will feel the wind and every soft instruction inside it. A chapter closes without dust and without drama. The page turns like a tide that knows the moon, the ink dries and refuses to smear. You are stable. You are protected, you are free. Your home is covered. Your name is clean, your secret returns to its rightful owner, which is you, and it no longer lives in any other mouth. The seal holds. The path opens. The day completes its promise. Your steps tonight will sound different because they are not weighed down. Your morning will open different because it is not crowded. Your voice will carry different because it no longer negotiates with fear. I remain present in quiet ways that keep you within the line of safety. I surround your sleep and stand at the corner of your work. I bless the ordinary so that it becomes your greatest defense. Walk forward. Breathe like it belongs to you, stand like the light stands. This message ends, but the protection continues. This day finishes, but the clarity remains, this promise seals, and it holds without strain. The person close to you who used your secret cannot hold your future in their hands. The light widens and the shadow recedes, the hour answers to you now. The doors that open are the right ones. The rooms you enter are the kind ones. The people who stay are the true ones. Your life bends toward ease not by accident but by alignment. Your choices become a path of quiet victories, your peace becomes your reputation. I have spoken. It is done, you are safe. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks with contributions of up to $1.20. Archangel Mitchell says, the next fold of this hour opens like a sealed letter revealing its lines. The message already started now gathers new pages and deeper ink. You stand at the hinge of a turning door and the hinge no longer resists. The hidden handful of the night would hide their footprints. Light spreads across the ground and every mark becomes plain. Your steps map the story they hope to bury and the map points directly to clarity. Your energy returns to your center like birds to their evening branch. Each feather settles and the branch holds without sway, peace stands watch at the eddies and keeps the field steady. You prepare the ground with small obedient acts that carry large power. You set your phone to silence during chosen hours and guard your focus like a gate. You keep your schedule clean and your priorities sharpened to a calm edge. A pattern of coincidences becomes a pattern of confirmation. A name repeats in unrelated places and the repetition is not random. The signal grows louder until it cannot be mistaken. You lay out 3 quiet tools on the table. The first is attention, the second is honesty. The third is courage. Together they form a key that fits any lock built by fear. Attention notices what honesty can name. Honesty names what courage can act upon. Courage acts with precision that wastes nothing and stirs no storm without purpose. You keep your tone warm and your boundaries firm. You answer with few words and many truths. You allow no hooks to cling to your sentences. The person who used your secret begins to feel the weight of their own device. What once felt light in their hand turns into iron. What once seemed clever now shakes in their grasp. You receive relief like soft rain falling on soil that never forgot its thirst. The ground drinks and gives back a green you have not seen in a long season. The color stays and deepens as the hours pass. You become fluid and quiet becomes fluid in you. Silent rooms feel like friends rather than empty halls. Your inner voice becomes a clear bell that never cracks. I set a gentle order over your day that arranges each task into a sensible procession. You walk from one to the next without scramble. Time respects the one who respects their truth. The veil around the informer thins and then splits. The edge is never meant because truth prevents the stitch. Your second face slips and the first face stands alone in a light that refuses disguise. You update your protections with simple measures that carry bright wisdom. You rotate a password and store it where only light can reach. You archive old threads and leave no trail that invites meddling. Conversations shift from panic to posture. You sit with a straight spine and your words take their proper seat. The room notices the change and the air agrees to behave. You will witness a small confession that arrives as a mistake. A word lands out of order and reveals its author. No force is needed and no chase is required. The same mouth that tried to bend your story bends back toward itself. Echo answers echo because truth no longer lands its walls. The corridor they used collapses into a quiet that does not feed rumor. Your sleep draws near like a tide that knows its shore. The pillow receives a head that no longer carries the iron. Dreams sweep the floor and leave only what strengthens. I draw a circle around your projects so they cannot be siphoned. The circle glows like a modest halo that protects output and origin. Those who try to reach through feel only their own grass. You bless your door with order and your desk with intention. The door remembers who belongs and who does not. The desk remembers what matters and what drains. A mentor appears in the form of a message, a page, or a voice that carries steadiness. Advice lands without ornament and fits your situation like a key cut correctly. You act on it in measured steps that respect your pace. The secret that felt like a hostage transforms into a lesson that belongs to you alone. Our ship replaces sham and the wind changes temperature. What burned now warms. You schedule a small act of joy that asks for nothing in return. A walk in air that remembers your name becomes medicine. A song that knows your rhythm unknots the day. This person grows uneasy in rooms that once applauded their performance. Applause cannot find a reason to begin. A womb prefers substance and the womb chooses you. You maintain dignity that refuses spectacle. You allow outcomes to ripen rather than forcing them to appear green and bitter. Patience becomes a strategy rather than a stall. Your circle tightens without losing love. Those who stand near you choose truth like a garment that fits. Those who prefer the costume of false adrift to their proper distance, signals of closure begin to arrive in threes. The first appears as a small return of respect from an unexpected place. The second arrives as a document that validates quiet facts. The third is a change in your own breath that tells the truth has finished its march. The chest opens without effort. The pace evens like a metronome set to peace. I fix a bright chord between your future and your present so hesitation cannot cut it. The chord hums like a low note that keeps you steady. You hear it when noise tries to lead you astray, the informer seeks old shadows. But the room has learned to keep no corners. Light occupies the geometry and leaves no pocket for schemes. Every angle declares its presence, you lean into practice that cannot be mocked. Healthy food, clean water, may your rest, steady work. Mockery starves when practice feeds what is real. Your name sits correctly on documents, on lips, and on results. Overshoot seals to effort like wax to a letter. Nothing forged can survive that seal. You sense the shift in loyalties around you. Those who value truth stand within arm's reach. Those who value drama learn to love the distance. A day that began with alarm evolves into a day that ends with structure. Structure gives tomorrow the gift of predictability. Tomorrow accepts the gift and promises cooperation. The person who harvested your secret will face their own administrative reality. Systems that ignored their bending now request accounting. Numbers do not lie and records do not flatter. You keep compassion without surrendering discernment. Your kindness does not purchase your silence. Your mercy does not lease your boundaries. I give you language that bridges conflict into closure. Each sentence carries an anchor and a sail. The anchor keeps you grounded and the sail moves you forward. Truth requires less memory than lies and frees your mind for creation. Creation arrives as new plans that fit your hands. Your calendar makes room for them without strain. A doorway opens toward a partnership that honors your value openly. Terms are clear and the handshake is clean. The work blesses both sides and leaves no stains. Your home adopts the rhythm of safekeeping. Objects return to their right places. Surfaces breathe and tell you they are ready for new tasks. The informer's appetite for attention goes unmet. Rooms no longer feed it and eyes no longer entertain it. The hunger returns to its owner and they must learn a different diet. You prepare a short, factual statement that serves as your single answer if pressed. Is brief, steady, and sufficient. You repeat it as needed and refuse tangents. Your finances feel the relief of leaks sealed. Exits that once grained are now shut. Entries that once hesitated are now welcomed with order. You examine your commitments and select the ones that stay. Each selection removes a secret hook you did not know you wore. The garment grows light and fits like it was tailored today. The light that found you does not flash and vanish. It occupies the space like morning that refuses to hurry. You work within it and it works within you. Allies appear with timing that honors your schedule. An email answers itself in your favor. A meeting moves to a better hour without your request. I place a calm on your devices so they bring only necessary noise. Notifications arrive like measured knocks. You answer what matters and the rest dissolves. You collect evidence only when wisdom requires it and never to feed anxiety. The folder stays thin because truth travels with a small bag. A weight in your hand remains light. Projects once delayed gain momentum because resistance lost its fuel. Pages fill with clean lines. Calls end with clear outcomes. You feel gratitude that does not deny the struggle it replaced. The thanks lands quietly and spreads like warmth. It steadies without demanding a performance. The informer tests one final tactic that fails to find purchase. Your boundary stands and the attempt slides off without mark. The lesson completes itself and bows out. You choose rest without guilt because rest belongs to the honest. The bed receives a body that served the day well. Morning promises interest on the sleep you invest. I keep watch at the corners where new paths begin. No detour will be allowed that leads backward. Every turn agrees with your direction. Your voice now carries the resonance of someone who walked through and arrived. Rooms measure that sound and answer with respect. Doors listen and decide to open. Old contacts who could not honor the present live where you do not travel. You bless and release them without ceremony. Space returns and space invites new life. Ideas arrive like migration in season. They come in flocks and know where to land. You provide the branch and the field and they provide the sky. Your name wakes in the morning with permission to rise. You lift it with both hands and place it on your day. The fit is exact and the comfort is true. The shadow that tried to attach to you learns you are not a surface it can cling to. Light changes the texture until nothing adhesive works. The shadow looks for other walls and finds none in your house. You count your wins in small stones that fit easily in your pocket. By evening the pocket holds weight that proves itself without boasting. You know where each stone came from and why it matters. A message arrives that validates private effort with public acknowledgement. The acknowledgement does not inflate you and does not own you. It simply agrees with what you already knew. The informer faces stillness where noise used to answer. Stillness becomes a mirror that does not blink. The image it holds requires accountability that cannot be outsourced. You remain generous to yourself in ways that build capacity. You give time to your craft and attention to your body. You give rest to your mind and purpose to your hands. The corridor of the weak stretches ahead without traps. If a knot appears, your patience learns where to pull. The rope obeys and the knot releases. You define success in terms that align with values rather than applause. Values outlast weather and trends. Applause fades and values do not. I bless the next 3 opportunities that approach you. The first strengthens your skill. The second expands your reach. The third confirms your direction and invites continuation. You say yes with a calm that does not need permission. The yes plants roots and grows leaves that do not wither. Your home continues to feel like a sanctuary rather than a hiding place. Sanctuary welcomes the world in balanced measures. Hiding places feed fear and sanctuary feeds courage. You wear your calm as clothing that fits every room. No situation requires a costume you do not own. You meet each hour with the same skin and the same spine. The ground you walk knows your weight and agrees to carry it. Surfaces cooperate with your steps. Corners widen rather than closing. You set a reminder to check the locks of your boundaries at gentle intervals. The locks are simple and strong. The keys live where you can always reach them. You return to your desk and write a list of 3 priorities only. You complete them with care rather than rush. Completion grows confidence more than speed. The informer becomes a lesson in your archive rather than a presence in your day. Lessons sit in their shelf and do not leave without invitation. Presence belongs to what nourishes. Your circle celebrates outcomes that feel like truth standing upright. Good news arrives without fanfare and stays without strain. It occupies your calendar like a rightful tenant. A final sweep of the space removes residue you did not notice. Windows let in air that knows your face. Fours release the last echo of old footsteps. The day folds itself with crisp edges and gives itself to night. Night receives a house in order. Morning waits with quiet eagerness and no dread. You hold your story with both hands and feel how smooth it has become. Rough places still exist, but they no longer cut. Your grip is true and your posture is natural. I mark the path ahead with soft beacons that your spirit recognizes. They do not shout. They glow in tones that correspond to your inner compass. Every bar of wake returns to its owner. Every rightful gift returns to you. Every step lands inside the agreement you made with yourself. The lantern you carry now does not flicker. It burns with discipline and mercy. It froze like that neither blinds nor fails. Walk on this evening with ease. Wake on the next morning with assurance. Continue with the knowledge that clarity is now a resident, not a visitor. Your secret is no longer a blade in another hand. It is a lesson in your own book and you hold the pen. The chapter ends with dignity and begins again with confidence. You move forward unencumbered. You create from soil that was once trampled and is now tended. You live in rooms that respect what you are building. The road does not ask you to hurry. The road asks you to continue. Continuation becomes your excellence and excellence becomes your quiet reputation. Where you go, order follows. Where you speak, peace settles. Where you work, results agree to appear. I remain present in a way that does not crowd and never leaves. Protection hums in the background like a faithful instrument. Guidance steps forward when invited and steps back when you are sure. The light will shine on and it has already begun. It will move across faces and papers and screens. It will rest on your name and call it good. The day that asked you to open now asks you to rest. Rest does not mean silence of purpose. Rest means strength without noise and progress without strain. You close this page with shoulders lowered and heart steady. What threatened now wins drought. What frightened now bows. Your life steps into rhythm and refuses the old stagger. Timing cooperates and doors align. You walk through with composure that teaches others to breathe. I watch the edges while you tend the center. The edges stay calm. The center grows strong. Go in the certainty you have earned. Build with the materials you reclaimed. Shine with the light that does not fail. Archangel Mitchell says, let the circle widen without losing its edge because your clarity must touch every corner it keeps. The hour leans in your favor and stays there without borrowing strength. The ground approves your next step and keeps approving the ones that follow. A soft current moves beneath your tasks and pulls them in the right direction. You feel it when documents find the correct words without strain. You feel it when calls end with agreements that respect your value. The person who tried to leverage your secret begins to run out of stage. Applause forgets their rhythm and the audience prefers truth. Airlines taste of dust and their exit finds its own timing. You keep your presence clean and your space intentional. A fresh surface on your desk becomes an oath you sign with action. A tidy room becomes a promise that results are safe here. Relief does not parade. It works. It repairs Hindus and strengthens seams. It restores quiet to a mind that carried too much weight. You build a ledger of small wins that compound. Each entry has 3 parts called choice, effort, and peace. The balance grows because the values match your core. A message arrives that once would have shaken you. Now it lands like a paper boat on steady water. It floats for a moment and then dissolves without residue. Your breath becomes your technician and tunes your inner instruments. Inhale steadies the strings and exhale warms the brass. Silence between them conducts the ensemble. You adjust your routines with a respect reserved for sacred tools. Morning receives 10 minutes of focus preparation, evening receives 10 minutes of gentle review. Boundaries become visible in ways that remove guesswork. The path through your day is marked by clean lines. Visitors to your energy learn how to step within them. You prepare statements that close old loops. They are precise without anger and final without noise. They convert past confusion into finished pages. A mentor's voice returns with a new layer of polish. You hear the same advice with upgraded understanding. You apply it exactly where it fits and nowhere else. The informer's network begins to wobble because it was built on borrowed beams. The beams refuse to hold what they did not sign for. Gravity completes what honesty began. You stay warm to life while cool to manipulation. Warmth invites growth and coolness resists intrusion. This climate teaches those around you how to behave. Food tastes honest when eaten with a quiet mind. Water feels like a blessing when swallowed with awareness. Rest feels like strategy when taken on purpose. You archive the old story with an index that honors its lessons. You label the folder with a date that will not be reopened without intent. You place it on the shelf that belongs to finny things. Light continues to map your next 12 steps with gentle confidence. The first 4 protect, the next 4 produce, the last 4 prepare. Odivim gias granodiansivim priverim gias namim gan. You revise a plan that once felt heavy and watch it become light. Unnecessary parts fall away because their season ended. The remaining parts hum with relevance and grace. Your language sharpens into a tool that opens doors. Words like clarity, consent, and closure become common in your mouth. They line up and work for you without complaint. A colleague notices the change and aligns with it. Their respect becomes a quiet beam in your structure. Cooperation replaces friction and the work moves forward. The informer tries a new mask and finds it does not fit. The elastic snaps and the edges scratch. They remove it and stand in a light that tells the whole story. You spend an hour with your future and give it specific instructions. It listens like a student who loves the subject. It promises to arrive as agreed and shakes hands with your present. Archangel Mitchell says, gentle does not mean weak and silence does not mean absent. The lion can sleep because the territory is secure. The flame can lower because the room already understands its power. You list 3 promises you will keep today and deliver them without drama. Promise 1 respects your body with movement and rest. Promise 2 respects your craft with focused attention. Promise 3 respects your peace with boundaries that do not bend for argument. The day obeys those promises like a contract, the evening rewards them like interest. A mild wind of fortune begins to stir around your name. It gathers honest testimonials and places them where they belong. It carries your work to eyes that value the substance above the shine. You choose the company of people who do not trade in secrets. You choose conversations that do not feed fire without cause. You choose rooms where dignity is the dress code. The heavy door you kept pushing opens because you stopped pushing and built a key. Keys outlast shoulders and protect bodies. Keys preserve grace while achieving Enki. You make peace with older versions of yourself who did not have this clarity. They laid bricks you are now able to stand upon. You thank them without laying them grieve. Your calendar shows a new pattern of white space that refuses to be guilt. White space is room for excellence to breathe. White space is proof that your value is not measured in panic. You give your devices a curfew that respects sleep. Notifications learn manners in your house. Morning greets you as a friend rather than a tax collector. The informer senses that the harvest is over. They hold their basket and find it empty. They face the field and learn what true planting requires. You do not gloat because gloating is a leak. You conserve power and let results speak. You celebrate with quiet that nourishes instead of noise that drains. The work of repair becomes the work of creation. Boards become tables instead of barricades. Nails become frames instead of cages. You send a single note to someone who deserves clarity. It is clean and consider. It accomplishes closure without opening new corridors of drama. A small sum of old respect finds its way back to you. It arrives as recognition, opportunity, or access. You accept it without shrinking and without inflation. Habits stack like bricks in the correct order. Foundation first, structure second, adornment last. The building holds because the sequence is wise. You observe the day for signals inviting a pivot. Pivots are small and exact, not wild and loud. You turn by degrees and find yourself aligned without whiplash. An old fear knocks softly and you answer with presence. You stand in the doorway and it decides to leave. Its luggage only contained old stories and the stories choose the recycle bin. Archangel Mitchell says, "The shield over you is not rigid iron. It is living light. Living light adapts to the angle of attack and absorbs it without fracture. Living light learns your rhythm and protects without weight. Your finances reflect the same principles as your peace. Inputs are honest. Outputs are intentional. Records are clear, waste declines and provision steadies. A letter you write to the future contains dates and details. It reads like a pact between your courage and your craft. It signs itself with a confidence that grew from today's trials. The informer's final attempt returns to them like a misaddressed package. The seal remains intact and the return label tells the truth. They accept what arrives and face what it implies. Your body thanks you with small freedoms. The jaw stops clenching, the shoulders drop. The stomach settles. These freedoms are certificates of completion for lesson well learned. You notice a window that never received your attention. You clean it and the view expands. The world outside looks available rather than threatening. Your voice gains the timbre of someone who knows they can endure and create. Rooms measure that frequency and adjust their treatment. Agreements become simpler because doubt found no hook. You carry forward a recipe for days that hold. It includes kindness to self, clarity with others, and consistency with purpose. It excludes panic, gossip, and self-arguing. The seeds you plant now already contain their harvest date. You mark that date privately and work backward with patience. Time becomes a partner rather than a prison. A partner or ally steps closer and aligns on values before plans. Values first ensures plans will not rot. You agree to move at the speed of trust and keep that vow. Your gratitude becomes a quiet engine. It turns without smoke or noise. It powers decisions that keep you free. You test your boundaries with a gentle press and find them firm. Secure lines allow playful hearts. Safety widens the palette of possible colors. Archangel Mitchell says, your house is under a canopy that remembers your name. Sleep beneath it and work beneath it. Invite only what cooperates with it. You take a walk and the path returns a message in the language of small things. Leaves vote for renewal and stones vote for patience. The sky votes for perspective and wins without argument. The chapter that tried to trap you becomes the preface to a stronger book. Readers will feel the weight of honesty in every page. Your signature will read like a steady drum. You disconnect from the urge to defend what truth has already defended. This conserves energy for building. It could have space for the essay of an Ethrephaniant. A new mentor appears in the mirror when you meet your own eyes with respect. You study what those eyes survived and what they learned. You decide to take their advice without delay. Your secret no longer bleeds energy into places that did not earn it. It becomes compost that enriches your soil. A new growth appears where pain once camped. You choose tools that aid you well. Journals with clean pages. Calendars with real margins, pens that do not skip. The tools honor the work and the work honors the tools. The informer fades from the plot because the plot no longer needs a villain to be interesting. Progress becomes the protagonist and integrity becomes the theme. The ending is earned rather than imposed. You close today's work with a small ritual of completion. You stack the pages, clear the surface, and speak one word called enough. The room echoes that word and holds the line for tomorrow. Sleep comes as a craftsman who respects your body. He repairs without fanfare and restores without debt. Morning receives you as an upgraded instrument. Archangel Mitchell says, keep your stride measured and your eyes soft. The horizon is not a threat when the feet are loyal. The day will greet your discipline with doors arranged like stepping stones. You are the rightful steward of your story and its only authorized publisher. No unauthorized edition can outlast the signed original. The signature is who you are when no one watches. Carry the lantern that does not flicker and the compass that does not lie. Let them guide you through rooms where whispers once gathered. Let them guide you into fields where harvests wait with patience. The architecture of your freedom is now visible from the street. It was not built to intimidate, it was built to welcome what is true. Those who arrive with clean hands will always find an open gate. Archangel Mitchell says, the hour keeps its promise and the promise widens into a pathway that holds. Your footing is sure because your truth is anchored. The air around you recognizes the new pattern and cooperates without resistance. Your focus becomes an instrument that plays one note called completion. That note gathers every fragment and invites it home. Loose threads find the hem and stitch themselves into order. The person who trafficked in your secret discovers that silence no longer obeys them. Silence refuses to hide what should be seen. Silence stands with truth and does not move. You protect your tomorrow by tending your today with clean hands. Tasks line up and accept their turn. Results appear without theatrics and stay without force. A letter of closure takes shape in your mind with crisp edges. It says only what is needed and nothing more. It ends with a full stop that cannot be dragged open. You keep your calendar loyal to your values. Blocks of time guard your creativity like gates. Each gate opens to the right key and never to noise. Light continues to circulate through rooms that once collected shadows. Corridors soften and belong to you again. Hallways carry your steps like friends who know your rhythm. The informer's confidence deflates without spectacle, even they feel the drop and understand its cause. No revenge is required because gravity and truth complete their work. You practice a small ritual at noon that resets the stage: 3 breaths, 1 stretch, 1 sentence of direction. The sentence instructs your day and the day listens. Your devices serve rather than rule. Messages that matter reach you on time. Messages that do not matter dissolve before arrival. You store evidence with dignity and never with fear. Dignity labels the folder and closes it. Fear does not receive a desk in your house. Allies with steady eyes take their places near you. They value substance over drama. They prefer the pace of work to the pace of rumor. You create a boundary script that protects your peace. It is short, kind, and firm. It repeats as often as needed without changing its tone. The body continues to release old armor that no longer fits. Muscles lengthen, breath deepens, sleep learns a kinder clock. The body thanks you with ease that lingers. You refine your goals until they shine with accuracy. Each goal contains a start, a shape, and a seal. The seal is your word, and your word holds. The person who played with your secret finds that doors once eager now hesitate. The hinge remembers integrity and asks for it. The request cannot be faked and cannot be bypassed. You remain generous without being available to exploitation. Generosity flows where consent is present. Availability requires purpose and earns its own appointment. A new opportunity steps forward carrying clarity. Terms are set in daylight and written in lines that do not smudge. Your name sits on the page without strain. You nourish your environment with objects that calm and tools that serve. The desk prefers clean surfaces and focused hands. The chair prefers a spine that trusts itself. Your voice maintains a warm gravity that rooms respect. Warmth invites collaboration. Gravity prevents drift. You update one system that touched your secret and remove every hidden hope. The op-ed finishes and the logs confirm completion. The door closes and stays closed. The informer measures the cost of their choices and encounters exact arithmetic. The numbers neither accuse nor excuse. The numbers simply inform. You place a gentle embargo on gossip inside your walls. Words used here must build or remain unspoken. The embargo keeps the atmosphere breathable. Light continues to make introductions between you and your rightful future. Tasks that once crossed at wrong angles now meet correctly. Intersections carry patience and right of way. Your inner council convenes without argument. wisdom proposes. Courage seconds. Integrity signs, the motion carries and the room adjourns. You appoint a brief dusk ritual that blesses the crossing from work into rest. A small tidy, a soft light, a clothing line, the line reads today is complete. The informer faces rooms that now require reality. Your costume threads fray under scrutiny, your lines return to paper and the paper refuses to rise. You walk through your evening with composure that teaches the furniture to relax. Objects align with purpose and beauty, surfaces reflect order instead of tension. A message of appreciation lands where once only demands arrived. The tone respects your time and your craft, you feel seen without being claimed. You update the map of your commitments and remove roads that lead nowhere. Dead ends become gardens rather than frustrations. Gardens feed the weak while dead ends starve it. Your creativity loosens like rain from a generous cloud. Ideas arrive in orderly rows, you plant what fits and store what needs a later season. The person who shaped their story with your secret confronts the quiet that follows. Quiet offers them a mirror, they must decide whether to use it. You attend to your finances with the same light you give your soul. Clarity replaces fog, stewardship replaces superstition. Projects that matter receive your morning hours. Projects that drain receive your farewell. Morning honors the things you honor. Your boundaries grow roots that make them living rather than rigid. Living boundaries bend with wisdom and never with pressure, they are kind to you and therefore kind to others. You accept invitations that align with the new geometry of your life. Angles meet cleanly and support real weight, architecture replaces improvisation. The informer watches your stability and realizes their influence has ended. Influence without integrity cannot renew itself, it decays at the rate truth requires. You write a list titled Sustain. It includes sleep that actually restores, food that actually nourishes, and tasks that actually matter. You follow the list and the list rewards you. Your home hums like a well-tuned instrument. Doors close softly and open fully. The air holds a clarity that refuses to spoil, an old memory knocks and you greet it with present courage. It loses its costume and becomes an unarmed visitor. You seat it briefly and then you escort it out, you choose your teachers with discernment. Some are human, some are tasks, some are quiet hours that held. Each receives thanks in the currency of application, the shadow of manipulation tries to stand and cannot find footing. Floors that once tilted now sit level. A room permits no slide, you mark your progress without comparison. Your path has its own calendar and its own harvest. The harvest comes because the seed was right and the care was real, the person who borrowed your truth must return it. Ownership returns to the rightful shelf. The shelf accepts it and closes the file, you commit to gentle excellence at your pace. Excellence that shouts burns out. Excellence that breathes endures, your evenings become workshops for restoration. You mend what needed men do. You polish what deserved shine, the informer cannot recruit in fields where you have sown respect. Respect roots deeply and resists weeds. A field protects itself because you taught it how, you practice one brave act each day that keeps fear from building a nest. The act is small and decisive. Fear has nowhere to perch, a light that began this morning continues its arc without falter. It crosses documents, faces, and decisions. It rests on your name and calls it correct. You finalize one chapter of effort with signatures that matter. Witnesses of integrity not once and move on. No ceremony is needed because substance completed the task. The informer drifts toward the edge of your story where the index begins. They become a footnote and then a lesson. The lesson stays and the noise leaves. You greet your reflection with steady eyes and a quiet smile. A face before you earned this steadiness. The smile belongs here and does not ask permission. You add a single practice to protect your next season. It is simple, repeatable, and effective. It locks what should be locked and frees what should be free. The door to your rest opens on time. The bed recognizes a traveler who has returned with clarity. Sleep receives you like a contract fulfilled. Morning waits behind the curtain with new assignments that fit your shape. You will accept what aligns and decline what does not. This is not resistance, it is mastery. Your story refuses to be told by hands that do not love it. It writes itself under your supervision. It publishes itself under your authority. The person who mishandled your secret stands in their own weather. You lend them no umbrella and send them no sore. You simply remain indoors where your climate is honest. Your work inch carries tools that are maintained, sharp, and safe. You know where everything sits. You reach without searching and build without stumbling. The week ahead stretches like a clear road with mile markers you can trust. Each marker speaks of progress, not pressure. The road honors the effort that brought you here. You breathe, you stand, you continue. Continuation is not repetition, it is deepening. Deepening turns knowledge into wisdom and survival into living. The light will not tire because it is sourced from what does not run out. Your task is not to chase it but to stand where it shines. Standing strength and strength is quiet. You end this continuation with shoulders low and jaw soft. The message that began as warning has become governance. Governance builds kingdoms inside ordinary days. Walk on with the authority you reclaimed. Build with the materials you now trust. Rest with the certainty that your story belongs only to you and to the light that guards it.